And you, as obviously, came in along with a number of other independents, the Teal independents. A couple of your counterparts voted with the Greens. I guess it's the first time we've seen a bit of distance on a major issue between you and some of your fellow independents on that.
Yeah, look, we've voted differently on lots of legislation. This is a massive issue, that's right, and we took opposite positions. Two of the independents voted for the Greens amendment, the others, including myself, against. At the end of the day, there's no Teal party. We're independents, and people make their own decisions based on their conscience, the feedback they're getting from their community and their experiences. My view as a humanitarian, but also a former foreign correspondent who's seen a lot of disasters around the world and aftermath of conflict, is that you have to be realistic. Israel was always going to have to respond. Again, though, that has to be calibrated within the parameters of international law to protect civilians.
You spoke about the Greens and you reject their position, their motion today, and that it's inflammatory. I guess the thing that surprised a lot of people as well, in the wake of the immediate terrorist attack, some of the comments, including from Senator Faruqi, where she said it was a disgrace that our parliament was illuminated in solidarity with Israel off the back of a terrorist attack. It's hard to grapple with some of these positions that have been taken, including by members of parliament, immediately after an atrocity like that.
It is, and look, I would say, obviously I don't agree with the comments from Senator Faruqi, but I also can't control what other people do. You know, I control what I do. I represent my community, a large Jewish community. I've been very clear on my position on this in regard to Israel's right to self-defence and safety of security of Israeli people, but also the need for humanitarian corridors, for medical supplies, food and water into Gaza. There will be a humanitarian crisis if this doesn't calm, but also, as we've already said, potential to spill over in the region and internationally.
A terrible conundrum given how small the area is. They want to root out Hamas, but, and as you said, the terrorist group uses its civilians as shields as well. So it's just a diabolical situation right now on all fronts, isn't it?
The geography of Gaza is really challenging because, you know, arguably it is absolutely the right thing to do to go in to try to dismantle Hamas. But when they use their own citizens as human shields around hospitals, around schools, around media organisations, there's networks of tunnels, there's tiny streets, there's potentially booby traps, incredibly difficult terrain to have that sort of surgical strike, if you like. But that said, if civilians are in the line of fire, you have to find another way around. That's the law.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a tough few months ahead. Sadly, it looks like it'll be a long conflict. Now, your question in question time today to the Prime Minister was on behalf of many of your constituents. It was about the safety of schools, of synagogues and so on. Were you satisfied with the response he gave?
Well, it'll depend when the money flows to those organisations in order for them to ramp up their security. I do appreciate the government's swift action on this, though. You know, a lot of Jewish organisations, but also mosques and other religious institutions do have to have extra security. In my community, there's always concern about security. There have been anti-Semitic incidents in recent months. There's a lot of anxiety. There's justifiable concern.
Right,
yeah, and some schools are telling kids you don't have to wear your school uniform if you go to a Jewish school in case there's, you know, aggression from people or anti-Semitism. So we have to take great care. The police have been great. Community security group have been great. Now there's $50 million that has been fast-tracked by the government to these organisations, synagogues and schools specifically in my electorate, to protect themselves, and that's absolutely appropriate.
It sure is, and let's hope that none of that does spill over in any way, shape or form in this country. Zoe Daniel, I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Kieran.